On the 31st of October, little kids will be taken to the streets to knock on the doors of complete strangers to scream in their faces trick or treat. While those little menaces are running amok like feral animals and generally being annoying little pricks, the civilised portion of society will be closing their curtains, turning off their lights and ignoring the doorbell to hunker down and watch what might be the most highly anticipated UFC event of the year, UFC 267. Kia ora whanau, I'm Kyle from the Combat Sports Network, and today we'll be dissecting UFC 267 taking place in Abu Dhabi. Jan Blachowicz will defend his light heavyweight title against Glover Teixeira. Petr will defend his bantamweight title against Cory Sandhagen, interim knees Nutsow Joe, and Islam Makhachev will go to battle with the king of Aotearoa, Dan Hooker. 12-foot giant Alexander Volkov goes nipple to face with Marcin Tybura, who's on a 5-fight win streak. Is he big enough to derail the hype train? The fighting pride of Sweden? Nah, not you, PewDiePie. Of course I'm referring to Ramzan Kadyrov's best mate and Dana White's new golden boy, Khamzat Chimaev, who takes on number 11 ranked welterweight Li Jingliang. Who are your favourites and picks for this absolutely stacked card? Is Sterling going to dust off his Oscar and make an appearance in the crowd while he's recovering? We'll see. Like the video, subscribe to CSN. Let's get cracking.
Li Jingliang versus Chimaev.
The main card kicks off with a banger between Chimaev and Jingliang. The Chinaman has been fighting in the UFC since 2014 and holds a record of 10 wins and 4 losses in the organisation. He's ranked 11th in the welterweight division and has 2 fight of the night bonuses and 4 performance of the night bonuses. All 4 of those coming after brutal knockouts. However, his takedown defence sits at 59% and his own takedown success rate sits at a measly 39%, which is surely going to excite the already salivating takedown and grappling behemoth Chimaev, who, as we know, is a former Swedish freestyle wrestling champion. The Chechnya native opens up as a huge betting favourite, meaning that the odds really are stacked against Brendan Schaub's favourite fighter, Jingliang. Boars, or the wolf to his mates, comes into this fight of a 100% winning record. 9 fights, 9 wins, 6 by knockout, 3 submissions. The average duration of his bouts is 144 seconds. He's never seen the 3rd round in his entire career. I think it's safe to say that Chimaev had one of the most impressive starts to a career in UFC history. He had 3 fights and 3 victories in 2 different weight classes in a space of 66 days, each fight earning performance of the night bonuses, breaking records for the quickest turnaround between UFC wins and quickest 3-fight win streak in UFC history. The former Legend FC welterweight champion Li is coming off of a KO win against Ponzinibbio in January, but is fighting a different beast in this Chechen lump, who, if he continues at this rate, will be taking Li to the canvas and submitting him in the 1st round, cementing his rightful place on the outskirts of the UFC's top 10 rankings. If he does come out with a win, who in the top 10 or top 5 do you think Chimaev should fight next? Comment below, or this fat bloke will come and get you.
Volkov versus Tybura.
The second fight on this astronomical main card sees the number 5 and number 9 ranked heavyweight juggernauts collide in the octagon. Volkov is coming off of a judge's decision loss to interim champion Cyril Gane, whereas Marcin Tybura is steamrolling his way through the rankings on a 5-fight winning streak. This success coming after leaving Jackson Wink and joining Syndicate MMA. Volkov has mixed results in his last 5, but has a clear height and reach advantage and is the more technical striker. His depth of experience in the cage, in having 42 fights and 33 wins, might also play a role in the outcome of this fight. Volkov recently posted a video on YouTube of one of his classes where he seems to be demonstrating a mishmash of jiu-jitsu, Mexican ground karate and extreme guard pulling. Let's see if these unorthodox tactics have any success against Tybura. Tybura is no mug. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and this former PE teacher and friend to light heavyweight champ Błachowicz comes from a grappling powerhouse in Poland. At the last European Championships, the Polski's reached the podium in almost every weight division. Despite his credentials on the ground, Tybura hasn't scored a submission victory for almost 7 years, and history shows that getting Volkov to the mat is a job in itself. Tybura comes into the fight with a 45% takedown success rate, and Volkov has managed to stuff 2 of every takedowns attempted against him. Even when you do manage to get him down, Volkov takes a page from Derek Lewis's Jiu-Jitsu is Fake book and just stands back up. Volkov's superiority on the feet and outstanding takedown defence might be why the bookies have him as a betting favourite for this matchup. I'm leaning towards Volkov for this one, but seeing as both men have previously beat the crap out of asthmatic, woman-beating scumbag Greg Hardy, they're both winners in my eyes. Let's go, Drago.
Jan versus Sandhagen.
Petr Yan was supposed to be having a rematch against the very much disputed bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling, who has unfortunately had to withdraw from the fight as he has not been cleared by UFC doctors. In steps 5'11", number 3 ranked bantamweight Cory Sandhagen to save the day after Yan took to Instagram to beg the UFC to find a replacement.
UFC, give me anything fighters who have to fight with me in Abu Dhabi 30 October. I show you who here really champ.
Cory is coming off of a split decision loss against drug cheater snake in the grass TJ Dillashaw in a fight that some fans think should have been awarded to Sandhagen. Cory has recent wins over Frankie Edgar and Marlon Moraes, elevating him to title contender status and earning him performance of the night bonuses along the way. The Sandman is a high-level striker and is unusually lanky for the division, making it hard for most bantamweights to find their range against him. But Yan is an elite Muay Thai fighter, honing his skills and mastering his stand-up at the revered Tiger Muay Thai gym in Phuket. Despite only having a BJJ blue belt, Yan proved to be a jack of all trades and showcased his grappling skills against Jiu-Jitsu black belt and NCAA champion Sterling, scoring multiple takedowns in the fight, his only flaw being the knowledge of the unified rules of mixed martial arts. The number 13 ranked pound for pound Yan is the betting favourite leading into the fight, the betmakers seemingly preferring his high pressure, technical and methodical style over the counter-striking, smooth and elusive style of the Sandman. Who do you think will go home with a gold around their waist and a potential future rematch against the UFC's version of Leonardo DiCaprio? Will we see Sandhagen land his trademark flying knee to earn him a shock knockout, or will we see the return of the game-changing, brain-shattering, grounded knee finisher from Yan?
Fatality. Makhachev versus Hooker.
Who better to introduce the Wish version of himself than Khabib? Islam fights the city kickboxing captain and number 6 ranked Dan the Hangman Hooker. Hailing from a country known for its rugby prowess, Hooker has become the fighting pride of New Zealand, racking up 11 wins in 17 fights in the UFC, 6 of those coming by way of knockout. Only a few weeks ago he earned a decision victory against rising prospect Nasrat Haqparast in a technical measured display after battling it out with his own government and their strict COVID restrictions, leaving him to train alone as opposed to his usual training camps alongside UFC middleweight champ Izzy Adesanya, Brad Riddell, Kai Kara France and UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski, leading the team to consider the option of relocating their gym to the United States of America. Islam continues to train with fellow Dagestani Khabib, but his opponent has changed due to former champ Dos Anjos being forced to withdraw with an injury. Makhachev is on an 8-fight win streak, earning himself a place in the top 5 of the lightweight rankings. A victory against the Hangman could well see Islam fight for the UFC lightweight title in the near future. Dan Hooker is by far the biggest underdog on the main card, the bookies not rating his chances against the Combat Sambo gold medalist, who is a huge betting favourite in this fight. Hooker's own grappling's not to be scoffed at though. The Kiwi has successfully defended 80% of attempted takedowns against him. Saying that, he hasn't faced someone with the wrestling credentials of Islam, who many expect to be able to impose his will on Hooker and take him down whenever he pleases, as he has against most of his UFC competition thus far. But Dan Hooker is known for his grit and determination and will know that he's going to be in for a night of struggle cuddles and will hope to replicate the heart of Volkanovski, who recently escaped the clutches of death against Brian Ortega. Hopefully Craig Jones has taught him a few tricks. It does seem unlikely, as the expectation is that Makhachev will continue his rampage through the division, putting champion Charles Oliveira and number 1 contender Dustin Poirier on notice in the hopes of bringing the belt back to the mountains of Dagestan.
Blachowicz versus Teixeira.
This light heavyweight title fight is the jewel in the crown of the main card. Number 1 ranked Glover Teixeira takes on defending champion Jan Blachowicz, who both come into this fight with 5 wins behind them. The champ successfully defended his title against Adesanya in March, whereas the challenger last fought around this time last year with a win over Thiago Santos. It's Glover's longest break between fights since 2008, which the betmakers seem to have taken into consideration, putting the champion as firm favourite in this otherwise seemingly even matchup on paper. Old man Glover, as he is affectionately known, is only 3 years older than the champion Błachowicz, but that's not the end of the similarities. Both men average a similar rate of strikes per fight and mirror each other in terms of takedown attempts. They're both BJJ black belts and both have 9 submission victories over a combined 75 fights. Glover does have the edge in knockout victories, notching up 18 KOs compared to Jan's 8, meaning that the challenger will look to keep the fight on the feet and rock the jaw of the defending champion. Jan's devastating Polish power is becoming the stuff of legend after he finished 3 of his last 5 wins with big knockout punches, most satisfyingly sending the ever-smug Luke Rockhold to the shadow realm with a huge left hook. His title defence against Izzy was praised for being a tactical masterclass. Will brains and power have the edge over grit and experience? I personally don't see this one guy in the distance. This is Glover's last chance at championship glory in an impressive 20-year career and Jan's opportunity to cement himself at the top of the light heavyweight pile. For me, Jan puts it away in the 3rd round with his trusted big left and retains the title. Well, that's my roundup of UFC 267. Leave your picks in the comments below and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the Combat Sports Network. Give CSN a follow on Instagram and Facebook and check out our website www.combatsportsnetwork.co.nz and sign up for access to a plethora of homegrown combat sports events and fights from around the world. Happy Halloween, you bunch of reprobates. I'm Kyle, this is the Combat Sports Network. Until next time, ta-da!